Y'all are going to get to hear some thunder and some rain. Just call me Storm, I guess. Not really. I don't like it. Yeah, I'm looking at the radar, and it's going to be raining for probably the whole time I'm live. Probably the whole time I'm live. But it's all right. It's all right. Y'all will get to hear some great Oklahoma thunder. Hopefully no woo-woo. You know? Go run and get in the fucking bathroom. But let's do some card reads. Yes? Yes. I wanted to thank everybody real quick. A lot of you guys, I took my shoes off and I can't find them. They're there. A lot of you guys have been sending in some well wishes and asking how my jaw is doing and so on. Better. It's better. I'm having to sleep in. I just fitted a new mouth guard today because the one I did the other day didn't go all the way back. So I just did that. So I get to sleep in a mouth guard and this weird face sling thing. I don't know. I look ridiculous, but you know what? I have slept great for the last 2 nights, so I'll take it. I'll take it. And Amazon says my jaw will be snatched as fiery, wickety whack, whatever, from sleeping in that sling. We'll see. We'll see. Like, all right, I don't really have jowls anyway, but you know. Anyway. So I already have a few people on my list. So let's get to it. Yeah? Thank you, Miss Athena. I just let the hair do whatever it fucking wants today because it's like 100% humidity outside. There's no point in attempting anything. My cowlick is cowlicking, and it just is what it is. Y'all that have cowlicks, you know exactly what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. The cowlick is cowlicking. Lexy Poo is first. So let's see here. Ooh, right then. So here's the decks I'm going to be using tonight. So I'm going to be using Dark Goddess. These are like legitimately these first 2 decks. They travel with me. They're probably my favorites. And then Mausolea, thank you, which is the Dark Oracle of Souls. I love this one. This is the really groovy one. So I'm going to use these. I also have my Urban Crow Oracle deck. If you guys have watched me for very long, you know that this one is termed the asshole deck. So I just pulled it out because my gut told me to. So that's why. That's why. So it's out. All right. So Lexy asked, what do my spirit guides, higher self want me to know at this moment? You got it. Also, for those of you guys that are here, I'm being petty. Before we talk about Lexy's, let me get my pettiness out before I read for Lexy, because I don't want Lexy's read to be petty. Before I read for Lexy, let's be petty. So I came across some people, some creators, when I was uploading a video earlier, that I'm not discounting anybody, so let's say that, okay? But the prices on their classes and their mentorship, I legitimately almost laid an egg that turned into a swan that then laid another egg and turned into another swan. Like, I almost threw up when I heard what they're charging for these things. Sorry, I didn't mean to move YouTube over there. So in case you guys didn't know, I have taught mentorship classes for the better part of a decade. My site is filled with classes. Mentorship, herbalism, glamour magic, candle magic, all the things, right? So here's the thing. To get into my classes, it's like $34 a month for mentorship. For all the videos, for live classes every Saturday. The blue plan is, I think, $75 a month, and that covers any class on my site except for Reiki. That one's separate. But hundreds of hours of classes are on there. So because I also, you can talk about people and describe someone, and people know exactly who you're talking about. Let's just say that I heard some things that kind of made me a little aggravated. So tomorrow at 10 a.m., I will be teaching my herbalism class live on TikTok. And at 11 a.m. on the same live, I will be teaching beginner mentorship. So tomorrow we're going to talk about how to set up your apothecary, the things you need, the tools, why you need them, etc. And then we're also going to talk about numerology and how numerology should fit into your spell work. And then because you guys on TikTok hit 2.2 million likes last week, tomorrow evening at 7, there is a free class for y'all on protections. But I just kind of wanted to remind y'all that there are some of us, I'm not the only older witchy creator that has been teaching for a long, hot minute that offers classes that are actually affordable. They're actually fucking affordable. And let me say this too. For $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 an hour, not only should that person be coming to your house, they should be bringing you that's ridiculous. Don't pay that for somebody's classes. Don't pay hundreds of dollars, $200, $300, $400, $500, $700. I've seen it at $700. Don't pay that to just have somebody tell you the shit you can fucking Google. Thank you. Misty knows exactly what I'm talking about. I legitimately heard a creator say that they charge $777 an hour for a person. Bitch, what? Brain can't brain. What the fuck? I know that Misty teaches classes. I know that there are several other creators on here that teach classes that are actually affordable and they know their shit. What? $111 for 3 cards. Bitches. Sass gripes at me all the time to raise my prices. And you know what? I did raise them the other day a whole $1. From $33.33 to $34.34. Excuse me, $1.01. Y'all realize that if you go to somewhere, let's say New Orleans, okay? In New Orleans in Jackson Square, there's a whole area where there's just card readers. Not in a shop, they just set up. Do you know that you're going to pay anywhere for a 30-minute session with them? Let's just say 30 minutes. Okay, let's just say 30 minutes. You're going to pay them probably about $50. $50 to $60. And that's for an in-depth card reading. Right? But you can't record it. You don't have any way to listen to it again. However, I'm not discounting them because the 2 that I've had a reading from when I was down there, they're fucking phenomenal, right? If you go into a shop and you're getting a card reading, if normally there are 30-minute increments, like 30 minutes or an hour, okay? So 30 minutes, you're going to pay probably $60 to $75 depending on how experienced that reader is. Now, that's just for cards. If it's a mediumship read, yes, those are going to be more. They take way more energy, way more time. They take a lot out of somebody. But we're just talking about just cards. Y'all know what your money is worth. Y'all know what your money is worth. And I was talking to my kid and I told my kid, because she asked too, she's like, well, I saw this person on TikTok and they charge like $75 for 5 cards or whatever. I was like, what? If you have to work 5 hours to pay for 1 card reading, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. That's bullshit. I've been reading professionally since 2013, 2014, over 10 years. I have a lot more experience than that in just reading for friends and family. I have a hard time charging more than what I charge because I know how much work it takes to earn that much money. Y'all know what your money is worth. That's all I'm saying. Y'all know what your money is worth. I will never, ever, ever be that person that charges that much for shit. I understand that I know my shit. I've been reading for a long time and I can whip it out and be on point. But it doesn't mean that I am ever, thank you, Miss Joy, going to charge money like that. I'm just not. And here's the thing too. Even for those of you guys that are like loyal Bodhi Nation followers, it's so weird to say that, but loyal Bodhi followers. There are a lot of new readers coming out that are fucking talented as shit. I highly recommend that if you come across somebody and they're doing like $10 for 2 cards or 3 cards or $5 a card or something like that, and they're just learning, get a reading from them. Get a reading from them. The people that are just starting out, they could be fantastic. They could be shit. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Thank you, Miss Misty Dawn. Get a reading from them. Let's say you get a reading from me or you get a reading from Misty and you're like, I just need confirmation. Let's say you happen to be like a stubborn ass earth sign and you're like, I just need confirmation. So let's say I get a reading from me, I get a reading from Misty, and I'm like, I know they're the same things, but I just need confirmation because I know Misty and Bodhi talk, right? Okay. So I go and I get somebody over here, Joe Suel and Sam Bob, okay? I'm never going to remember that. But let's say that they're doing 3 cards for $10. And then they give me the exact same thing. 3rd time's a charm, bitch. Okay. If you need confirmation on something, that's fantastic for that. Thank you, Miss Eunice. But y'all don't ever pay that much money for fucking card reading. I've been in conventions where there were really famous ass psychics. They don't charge that much for readings. Don't pay it. I just had to go off on a little petty tangent for a minute because I felt like I got like the wind knocked out of me or something. And then I was surprised, like, what the fuck? Like, brain can't work. I don't know. You know what I mean? Y'all don't be paying $200, $300, $400, $500, $700 an hour just for a mentorship. Even if it's an in-person personal mentorship. Don't do it. Don't do it. Especially when you can listen to these people brag about how much money they make. Don't do it. I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm gonna stand on that with my whole fucking chest. Don't do it. My classes have always been and will always be affordable. Always. Like, I promise. I promise. Okay? And we're fixing to add new classes. We're fixing to add new classes. Scarly is going to start teaching Brujeria. Just saying. I'll be in that class. I'll be in that class. We're fixing to start adding a lot more classes to the site. And they're all covered under the blue plan. Y'all don't pay hundreds of dollars for a single appointment. Okay? I mean, unless it's like Stevie Nicks. Then, bitch, I'm jealous, okay? There's my soapbox. I'm done. When I saw that this morning, I legitimately almost fell over. I wanted to smack faces. Like I don't understand. I don't understand. Just saying. Just saying. So, y'all know what your money is worth. And I'm going to reiterate one more time, and I'm sure that Misty would agree with me on this. Before you ever give anyone money for a reading, especially on social media, listen to the way that person reads. Okay? You might not like that I say fuck every other word. That's fine. You might not like how gruff somebody is. You might not like how sugar-coated somebody is. But I'm serious. Listen to them read. Watch them read. I'm going to give you guys a couple signs of how to tell if someone knows their shit and if you should give them your hard-earned money. And I want you to think of it like this. You're looking for a place to eat, okay? And you have all of these restaurants in front of you. How do you know, if you've never been to any of them, how do you know which one is worth going to? You look at the reviews, you take a gander inside, you look at their menu, etc., right? The same thing goes for card readers or readers in general. Watch that person in their live for a little bit, read cards. Watch how they shuffle. Do they turn the cards over or do they read them how they fall? And if they turn the cards over, let's say that let's say that this card comes out upside down and you go and you watch them turn the card over. That is not the reader for you. And I'm going to tell you why. Every professional card reader that is worth their weight in anything will read the cards how they fall. Y'all hear me say, oh, that's whopper jawed or whatever. You read it how it falls because you're fucking up whatever it is that spirit wanted you to say. The next thing, do they pull a card and then instantly start reading? Do they pull cards and instantly start reading? And sometimes you're like, well, yeah, I'm going to tell you why that's a flag. You ready? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. Let's say I pull these cards. I'm going to pick on Scarlet because she's right there, okay? So mischief, routine, and teamwork, okay? Now, if I pull these cards and I only look at the words and I start reading for you, I'm going to hold these up again, okay? I want you guys, I'm going to give you a little test. I want you guys to just look at the cards for a minute and tell me what you notice. I picked these on purpose. What do you notice? Look at all three cards next to each other. What do you notice? My hands are shaky. Not just the birds. The birds are in all of them. What do you notice? They're all flying. What else do you notice? The dual colors. You notice there's blue on the bottoms of 2 and on the top of 1. I haven't seen it said yet, but you want to see the main thing I noticed? They're all attacking something. They're all attacking something. Now, if you see just the words, that's only one aspect of this. If someone pulls cards and they start reading like this, they haven't taken the time to look and see if there's matching colors in all of this. If every card they pulled has birds attacking something, have they? They just started reading. They just saw the words and they're like, oh, routine means you need to build a better routine and team means that you need to rely on your team. Nah, that's not the meaning at all. Someone that's a experienced card reader will sit and take a look at the cards before they ever say a fucking word. The next reason that you want to listen and you want to pay attention if someone's reading cards is you want to hear them read for multiple people. And this includes me. This includes me, okay? Before you ever give me your hard-earned money, I want you to listen to me read. I understand at this point in my career, I'm not the reader for everyone, and I am okay with that. Is the person you're listening to giving everyone the exact same cookie cutter? Just like gingerbread man? Or are they actively paying attention to the cards and doing a reading for that specific person? You guys have no idea how much I scroll through TikTok and I listen to other readers, and they have like 2 or 3 blanket reads that they give everyone. I'm just saying. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Those are the 3 things you need to watch out for. If they're charging a fuck ton of money, you definitely need to listen. Because you need to know if they're actually legit or not. The other, here's one more. If they draw you a card and then proceed to pick up the book and go, oh yeah, so that card means this and that card. Bitch, you can read out of the book. You can read out of the book. An experienced card reader knows their fucking cards and doesn't need the book. If they're continually trying to give you a reading and looking over here and like kind of doing this, they're not even looking at the cards, because I've seen this too. They're like doing this. They're not even really looking at the cards and they're not looking at you, but you can tell they're reading. They have a fucking script prepared and they're reading off that fucking script. Bitch, you can do that. You can ask ChatGPT for yourself. I'm just saying what I'm saying with my whole chest. If you guys are wanting to become a good card reader, if you're wanting to really pay attention and be a badass fucking reader, know your cards. Listen to it read. Know your cards. Get a deck. Learn it inside and out. Actually read the book. Actually read the book. Know that deck inside and out. All 3 of these decks in front of me, I have had since 2019, and 2020. 5 and 6 years. I have some decks back there that I've had longer than that. We friends. I know them inside and out. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There's actually a class on my site that is Oracle Cards 101 that teaches all of this, teaches you how to be a professional reader, because it hurts my whole brain sometimes to see what goes on. So, be smart, y'all. Be smart, y'all. Okay? Be smart. All right, Lexy Poo. Now that I have gone off on my tangent. It just, I couldn't believe that. So, I'm being petty. And so in the morning, at 10 is herbalism. At 11 is beginner mentorship. They'll be live right here on TikTok. You can decide if I am the teacher for you or not. Okay? And chances are that there might be some more of this during this live. My jaw is hurting a little bit, but y'all, I've seen some shit on TikTok over the last week. Just saying what I'm saying. Just saying what I'm saying. Oh, no, that it's Central Time, Donna. 10 a.m. Central. I will be live here on TikTok. So, yeah. You know it was witch talk. You know it was witch talk. I'm just saying. All right. Rada. Lexi, what do your guys need you to know? Gaia, the Morrigan, the Ageless, and Jeannie the Maid. So the first one you have is Gaia, which I find this really interesting because all of these deities that are all the ones that are pulled here, the Morrigan, the Ageless, and Jeannie the Maid, they all have very interesting solitary backstories. These also all give me the feeling that you're in the middle of creating, I don't know if it's a business or a book. You're in the middle of creating something that has a lot of, not only a lot of words to it, but it has a lot of detail. Like I keep seeing it like this. You know what I mean? Like you're building the ladder as you're climbing it. I'm going to show you Gaia again. As you're creating this, I want you to think about these because people think that creation and creating something is just sitting down, typing it out, and it goes right on the paper. But it's not. You have to take into account feelings, trauma, things you know, things you don't know, research, all of those things. And the reason I say that is because the next card is the Morrigan, and this is like anticipation, and she's a revenge deity. She's a battle deity. She's a triple goddess. There's a lot more to her, just like creation, than just, here's a kid. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? And then you have the Ageless, which is healing and compassion and acceptance. And then you have Jeannie the Maid, which is humility. It's also disillusionment, but humility is what we're focusing on. The other thing I want to point out to you is that none of the colors really match. These are all different phases, okay? They all have weaponry. When you're going through this creative process, Lexi, whether it's a book, whether it's a class, whatever it is that you're creating, and I say creating because I feel like you've already started part of it, and I think that this is just the this is the nudge you need to get back into doing it. I want you to put all of these emotions into this creative project. This is like your shield. This is your personal battle that you are putting into words. And I want you to look at it like that on purpose. The reason I'm saying that is because all of these deities, Gaia doesn't, obviously, but all of these deities have weaponry with them. Whatever this creative project is, this is your strength. This is your honor. This is your soul. This is the shield that you're putting out. The best shields have spikes. I'm just saying. The best shields have spikes. When it comes to, oh, thank you so much for supporting me. I appreciate that. When it comes to your creative endeavors, all of this right here tells me that the end product is going to be way more than you ever thought it could be. Be humble about it. Use it. So here's a little tip of why some writers are better than other writers. When you put your emotion, your trauma, your shadow self into it, it's always going to be better because people can relate to those things so much better than if it was something written by ChatGPT. Not that I don't love ChatGPT, but you know what I'm saying. Lexi, I think that you just need the push to get back on this creative project. The fact that there are 4 different colors, there are 4 different beings, the majority of them are female. Put a lot of your divine feminine into it. Put a lot of healing and acceptance and coming up against opposition with, I'm going to say a soft heart, and then I'm going to liken it to this. You know, in Harry Potter, when they get caught in the devil's snare and Hermione's like, you just have to relax and it'll let you go. That's what you need to make this creative project. It's like a devil's snare to snag somebody in. Does that make sense? The other thing I'm going to say too, I want to go back to the spikes on the shield, because this one right here, the fact that she came up after the creation, after Gaia, notice how she's in shadow. You can see everybody else's faces, but not her. Don't tell anybody your idea. Don't tell anybody what it is that you're creating. You can tell them like, oh, I'm writing a book. What's it about? You'll just have to read it. Because if y'all have followed me for any length of time, you've heard this come out of my face. Bitches be bitches. Bitches be bitches. I have written a fuck ton of books in my life. I have written thousands upon thousands of articles, white papers, etc. I have had people plagiarize my work. I've had to get an attorney. I've had to threaten copyright, all that stuff. That's a part of being a writer, unfortunately. But I have watched as TikTok has matured, progressed, etc. I have watched so many people steal other people's ideas. I watch it on a daily basis. Lexi, don't tell anybody anything about anything they don't need to fucking know. They don't need to fucking know. Okay? They can read your book. They can take your class when it comes out. They don't need to know shit. Just saying. Just saying what I'm saying. Get back into this creative aspect. Apparently, you're really being pushed to do so, and for some reason, not making the time to sit down and do it. This is your sign. This is your sign. Get back to the creative aspect. Okay, Lexi? Just saying. Just saying. Y'all, I've had it happen to me. I know other creators have had it happen to them. And let me just say that there's a special type of karma for people that have to steal other people's ideas. I'm just saying. I've watched it. It's glorious when it happens. All right. Miss Tammie. The temperature started dropping here. I don't know what the temperature is. It was 80 earlier, but I know it's been doing this. Like, I can feel it. And when it started doing that, I started getting this weird, like, little cough. Don't you just love springtime with all the fucking pollen everywhere? That, nope. That is too many, Tammie. That's too many, Tammie. No, what the fuck? Lilith, Hathor, Morgan Le Fay, and Set. Okay. All very powerful, very notorious deities. Interesting. I'm going to point out, I want you guys to look at the colors of these cards when I pick them up, okay? Dark, light, dark, light. I mean, that one's not as dark as Lilith, but you see what I'm saying? Tammie, you're in some kind of, I'm not going to say rut because that's not right. You're in some kind of pattern. You're in this weird ass pattern of like highs and lows, okay? Things go great and then they suck. And then they go great and then they suck. So every time they go great, you've been taking notes about, okay, what is it I did this time that made this? I don't even know the right thing to compare it to. You know what? Let's compare it to like videos on social media. You had a video go super viral, right? So you pay really close attention. What is it that I did that made this go viral? And then you have one that doesn't. And so you're like, what the fuck? So then you notice, okay, what did I not do, or what did I do different in this one? And every time something, you go up, and every time you start to come down, the down is a little bit higher every time. Does that make sense? Because you've been really paying attention. But for some reason, you can't get past this last little hump that's going on. So Lilith is equality. Hathor is culture and communication. Morgan Le Fay is like just magic, but she's growth. She's also a little bit of atonement, and I don't feel like atonement is what's going on here with you. But Set is the one I'm really surprised that he came out, and he's the one I really want to talk about, because this is like ambition, but narcissistic and short-sighted and so on. Even though Set gets a really bad name, just like Lilith gets a bad name. And Set is not really the best deity. He's just not a good guy. But he is very, very ambitious. So I have a feeling that what you're missing to get you out of this last part, this last rut right here, is, I know when I say this, you're going to be like, that's just not me. I understand, but hear me out. You're lacking a little bit of narcissism, and you're lacking a little bit of short-sightedness. And I want to say why, because when you're trying to get out of a rut, and when you're trying to like go back like that, and this is something that it's really, really hard for me as well, because I don't ever like to brag. We all have narcissistic tendencies. All of us. All of us. It's just some people let them way out, and some people have way more than others. But we all have it. Okay? You need to put some horse blinders on when it comes to getting out of this rut. You need to have a little bit of narcissism in, oh my God, I am really fucking good at what I do. You need to have a little bit of short-sightedness in your ambition of, you know, you have 10 things that you're trying to accomplish, but this one thing right here is what will get you out of this rut. You need to be like, all these other things can wait a little bit. This right here is what I've got to focus on, and put the horse blinders on. What really sucks is that you have all the hallmarks here of not coming into this bottom part of this rut again, whatever this is. Hope you understand what I'm saying. It's literally like this weird ass, like an egg shape, but down here it just keeps getting higher each time. You've worked really fucking hard. You've done all the legwork. You have every single thing that you need to move forward. But this is just that last little, like, you just need the acceleration to push you back up. Be a little narcissistic with it. You know your shit. You know your shit. The one more thing I want to say. Morgan Le Fay right here. I know I said the atonement. I don't really feel like that's a thing with you, but I want to talk about the growth again. If you haven't taken the time to do some shadow work through all of this, do it. Take a pause and do it. I think that will help get you this little bit of, you know, narcissistic ambition back. I hate to say it like that because it sounds so bad, but you need that jolt, right? And when you do shadow work, I don't want you to just, oh, I'm just going to do the shadow work. I don't want you to just, like, you know, blindly go in and try to look for it. Do some shadow work on imposter syndrome. Yes, there are shadow work prompts out there for imposter syndrome. We all have it. We all have it. We all have it. So that's what I'm going to recommend, Tammie. Do some shadow work prompts for imposter syndrome. You already know your shit. You do. You just need to make sure that you know your shit. Does that make sense? So I hope that made sense, Miss Tammie. Why is this being a bitch? Okay, there we go. Miss Monica. Miss Monica's next. I had a dream where I was talking to 2 or 3 other people. I woke myself up saying, that's because I'm a healer. Your TikTok post reminded me. So is that something I should look into? And who were these people? Okay. Is that something you should look into? So that's interesting. This is the coercion card. When your first question is that something I should look into? Before I ever pull any of these other cards, I'm going to say that this is something you're being enticed to do. And I'm going to tell you to enter it with an air of caution. Okay? Enter it with an air of caution. Because the fact that that's the coercion card, sometimes our spirit guides, our ancestors, our guardian angels, any of that, they need us to do something because they need our help with something. If they're needing you to become a healer and it's not something that if you've been rattling it around in your brain, that's different. But if it's not something that's ever been a thing that you wanted to do, we're gonna pull these and find out who that is. But the coercion card is very interesting when being asked if healing is something you should look into. I just put out a video today about the perils of healing. And here's the thing, and I fully expect this to happen before I turn these cards over, just because it pertains to what Monica said. I know my shit, especially when it comes to Reiki and so on. I don't know everything. I don't say I know everything, but I know my shit. I've been doing it a long time, right? And every time I post a video about the downsides of something or about why you should be careful with this or this, inevitably, there is at least one person that's like, well, if you're just all love and light. And no, no, that is not the way things work. Everything has a price. Just like you learn in science class, there is always an equal and opposite reaction for every action, right? Okay. So if you're healing, you have to have something, either you're channeling something to help you heal, or you are taking in some of the bad parts of that person. You're depleting there's a lot of things that go into healing, right? But inevitably there's someone that's like, well, and this, to be honest, is how I can tell where someone is in their magic. I will stand on this with my whole chest. I have stood on it with my whole chest for a long time before TikTok, before I ever got on TikTok. The people that are the best at their craft operate in the gray. They operate in the gray because they realize that everything is balance. Everything is balance. You cannot be all one or all the other. You cannot be all good. You cannot be all bad. Eventually, that pendulum is going to push you into the middle. Or it's going to swing wildly the other way, like this. So, before I turn these cards over to find out who that is that's talking to you, or that you were talking to in the dream, and I did pull 3 cards. Thank you, Kat. I appreciate that. I did pull 3 cards. I just want you guys to remember that every bit of magic has a cost. Every bit of magic has a price. Okay? So you ready? You have lady, lady, lady. Okay. Interesting. I never can pronounce this one's name and I always feel bad, so I'm not going to try. But you have prosperity, abuse, excuse me, and denial. So the reason that you woke up from that dream like this, the reason that the coercion card was pulled is because you have, I would say these are spirit guides, to be honest. I would say they're spirit guides. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But the prosperity, let's talk about that. They're wanting to push you into that. This particular one right here is wanting to push you into healing, because healing is something that it has a lot of prosperity in it, but not always monetary. I cannot tell you guys how much more fulfilling my whole entire life has become just by doing a Reiki session 2 nights a week on TikTok for thousands of people. I can't even begin to explain. Prosperity comes in multiple forms. And the reason I felt that I needed to say that to you specifically is because I've read for you a few times, and I've read your energy and stuff like that when you've asked me to, not just sometimes we need that prosperity, and we need that encouragement. We need that enlightenment. We need, do you know what I mean? We need the feedback. There we go. The other two, however, remember that coercion card? Remember this coercion card? That's these two. And I'm going to advise you to be very careful with these two, because the fact that this one's abuse and this one's denial. In this deck, this one right here is a siren. In other words, leading people to their demise. And this one right here, I want to say is a Korean deity. I can't remember, so please don't come for me if I get the nationality wrong. But basically, her husband passes. This is his sword. Anyone she kills with the sword, you know, she steals their soul. Like denial that he's gone, right? I'd be very careful of those two. I feel like this one is the stronger of the three, but these two are the ones that are pushing you to get into healing more for their benefit. And notice that they're completely opposite colors and so on. More for their benefit than for yours. And here's why I'm going to say that. Actually, before I say that, I'm going to say this because gifts are fun. You need to look into quantum healing and quantum Reiki. Now let's talk about these two. They're trying to coerce you and push you into healing because they need that healing to be able to move on. Not all spirit guides are good. I know you guys have heard me say that. Not all spirit guides are good. And they're here, the ones that are not related to you, they're here to learn lessons just like you are in your meat sack. These two right here have a lot of healing to do and a lot of shadow work to do. I would also advise taking some courses on shadow work, taking some courses on learning how to help other people with shadow work, because that's exactly what these two need. Just saying. Just saying. So I want to pause really quickly. Guys, don't co-read. Don't co-read. Because what that tells me, if I look down and I see that somebody is co-reading, my instant reaction is to block you. And I'm going to tell you why. I have been doing this a long time. I know what I'm doing. I have a roster of celebrity clients. I didn't get where I'm at by not knowing what I'm doing. So when you co-read, you're basically telling me that I don't know jack about shit and you know better than I do. Don't do that. I don't come into your live streams and do anything like that. I would never do anything like that. And it's just fucking rude. It's just fucking rude. I'm just saying what I'm saying. So mods, there's no tolerance tonight. If somebody's co-reading, just put the blanket thing up like, please don't co-read. And if they do it again, that's an instant mute. I'm not tolerating it. I'm not tolerating it because it pisses me off. It pisses me off. So Monica, I would be very careful with these two. The one that's all about your prosperity is 100% going to be pushing you to be a healer just for the fulfilling aspect of it. But these two right here are doing it for their own benefit. They're doing it for their own benefit. These three are all women. I will say the one that has your best interest in mind is someone that you've seen in your dreams more than a handful of times. She always appears in a white dress with super dark hair, like super, super dark hair. And she looks very similar to someone that you know that you grew up with, but not 100%, if that makes sense. These other two right here, though, they more appear as like, in a dream when... trying to think of the best way to explain this. You know that you're talking to somebody, but it just kind of looks shimmery like smoke. They're not really wanting to show you what they look like because they're not doing what they're supposed to do when it comes to all the shit they're supposed to be learning while they're here. So just know that you have the upper hand. Know that you have the upper hand. Okay? Fucking hair. I would never tell somebody not to get into healing. Ever. And I'm going to tell you guys why. I want you guys to know all of the... Jacob, you are next. All of the downfalls of it and all of the problems that could happen. Because... there are. And I just... You know exactly who I'm talking about. Okay, good. I'm glad my flappers are gasted. Good. I'm glad you knew who I was talking about. Yeah. I will always make sure that you guys know the good and the bad with anything. Thank you, Vegas Wolf. I will always make sure that. What's up, Tony and Alisha? Because everything has its good and its bad. It does. When people ask me, what is it like to, be on TikTok for a living or whatever, my first reaction is it sucks, but it's great. But it sucks, but it's awesome. Like, because I don't think people that have been around me in real life and see behind the scenes. Like, I know Shauna was in here a while ago. Shauna's seen it. Sass sees it. All my mods have been around and have stayed, at my house or whatever and watched. I work so much more than I ever did at a brick and mortar. Let me just go in, clock in, ever. It's hard. It's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with videos and keep up with messages and keep up with this and keep up with this. And I also run another business and it's so much, right? So I have to make decisions constantly on what I can no longer do because I don't have time. But at the same time, I absolutely love what I do or I wouldn't continue to do it. So everything has its good and its bad. You know what I mean? Everything has its good and its bad. So I will never discourage someone from learning healing. Even if you just learn healing to be able to do Reiki on yourself, dudes, seriously. Even if you're just like, well, I don't really want to do Reiki for other people, just do Reiki 1. Just do Reiki 1. Seriously, just do Reiki 1. You know what? That gives me an idea. That gives me an idea. What if, theoretically, I was to teach just Reiki 1, Usui Reiki, the original, the historical one, the one that started it all. If I were to just teach a free fucking class of just Reiki 1 on here for you guys, I think that needs to happen. I think that needs to happen. I have taught Reiki for a long time. If you want to learn Omni Reiki like what I do, that's on my website. But you really, before you start learning any other types of Reiki, you need to learn the base. You need to learn the base, which is Usui Reiki. You need to learn the base because that's the history. It's the symbols. It's why Reiki is a thing. I know Sass is over there about to have a heart attack and probably cussing me out. But it's something I've actually been thinking about for a little bit. And the fact that a lot of you guys didn't know that with Reiki 1, you can work on yourself. I am a master teacher or grandmaster in 8 different types of Reiki. 9 if you include the one that I developed. At this point, I have 84. We're just going to say 84. 83, 84 certifications in all kinds of different things. From, I have my esthetician license to quantum Reiki to angelic communication to moxibustion. I have like 23 or 24 different certifications just in acupressure. I know my shit. I know my shit. And to be honest, I think that everyone could benefit from just Usui Reiki 1. So I'm going to plan that out because it will be several different classes. I'm going to plan that out. All right. Jacob is next. Jacob is next. I'm a very bad person and I broke and now I'm drinking pop again. And it's glorious. And I missed it. And I missed it. Okay. 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 Unsure of what your future holds. Okay. Defense. That is the first. That is the first. I'm getting the mad messages from Sass. I just want you guys to know. This is the first card that I pulled for you, Jacob. And seeing that this is defense, I don't know if you're over here or here. I think you're over here. Y'all, when the defensive card comes up, I haven't even turned the other 2 over. When the defensive card comes up, I want you to remember that it's not always spiritual. One thing that I absolutely love about my bestest friend, the Sass that I just made angry, is that she was taught a saying very similar to what I was taught. It means the same thing. Mundane before magical. And people, even though I try to do every single thing in my life with a spiritual intent, with a spiritual meaning, I still always have to remind myself, mundane before magical. Mundane before magical. Like if I see something out of the corner of my eye, is it my fucking hair? Is it a lash? Did a crow get in my house? You know, like mundane before magical. And a lot of times when we feel like we're under attack, we don't realize that it's something, maybe we got caught up in something else. Like, here's a good example. Let's say that you've worked for this company, for some big company for like 2 years. And they announce that they're going to be doing layoffs, right? but you're in a very niche job. You know, that they need to keep you or whatever, but you get laid off anyway. Immediately you're going to be like, man, somebody here did a fucking working against me. Like, I bet it was that bitch Sharon in the mailroom, you know, whatever it is. That's not always the case. You could have literally just had your name pulled out of a fucking hat by chance. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. How many of y'all football sports fans have heard that? Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. So just seeing this right here, look for ways that you can be on the offensive. I don't want to read the first question that you asked because it's personal, but look for things that you can do immediately to be on the offensive with that. Because those are two big things. Those are two big things. You notice how I just said about being on the offense and getting everything ready, right? Here. Transformation and denial. Notice that both of these two are red. That one's not. Like, she has a red dress on, but notice that both of these two are like the backgrounds are red. The answer to the first question you asked is, this is a transformative period. Transformation sucks. I'm just saying, transformation sucks. It doesn't matter what it is, it fucking sucks. You always have to lose shit. You always have to look at other people that have shit, and you always have to look around and be like, I want shit. I want to be the shit. I want to be that shit. Whatever is going on right now, you said, I'm unsure of what my future holds. That's fine. That's fine. We get in this phase where, and I know you have a very, very analytical mind, but we get in these phases, burning up, where we feel like we have to know every single little thing that happens. I need to know everything on my path so I can plan for it. And that is in no way the way the universe works. We don't get to know shit about jack about fuck. It was really hard for me during COVID, like during the shutdown. I feel like you need to hear this. During the shutdown, I had a big girl job, right? So I worked at home, but I was like the purchasing person for this company, this large company. And I was at work at 7 a.m. I worked from 7 to 4. My job was super easy. I knew I was always going to have the same paycheck every 2 weeks. But I also knew that what I do now was taking off, right? And this was before my TikTok ever blew up. All the signs were there. Everything was happening. And I just was in denial about not having that big girl job anymore and not having that solid paycheck, right? Like, I know every 2 weeks I'm going to make this amount of money. Like, I can plan my bills on it, so on. I was in denial about that. And I literally tried to plan everything out. Like, I tried to be like, you know what? I'm going to quit on this day in 6 months. And, you know, I'm going to have this and this and this. And the universe was like, no. And I got laid off. And it was the best thing that happened. It was the best thing that ever happened. Even though a few months later, I had to move. I had to get a new car because I had a car at the time. I had it for 1.5 years and it had been in the shop 8 months. And finally it had a like, bleh, and it was a new car. That's what's bad. Newer. It was only like 2 years old. Yeah, it was bad. All of this stuff happened at once, right? And I was so stressed out and trying to figure out like, well, what the fuck am I going to do now? What the fuck am I going to do now? And finally I realized, you know what? It doesn't matter. The best defense is a solid offense. So I started working my ass off and I started doing the things that I had wanted to do for so long, especially with like what I do now and so on. I started learning more and doing all this shit, right? And what do you know? That transformation was like, When I stopped stressing about what the universe was going to bring me and if the universe was going to make sure that I had a job or what, you know, whatever, when I started to have a little faith in just the universe itself, that if I needed something, it would be there. It doesn't mean I still didn't work my ass off, but if I needed something, it would be there. You're in a major transformative spot. And I would really liken it to standing on top of a diving board and being kind of scared to dive into the water. Pretty soon that board's going to make you dive. I'm just saying. I would do everything you can about those two things. About losing those two things. I would do everything you can. Start looking for alternate aspects of them. But I would also embrace the transformation. I would embrace it. Does that make sense, Jacob? I know that was like a rambling. Just saying. Y'all, we're not going to get on that tangent. TikTok isn't going anywhere. We're not going to discuss that. It did make sense. Okay, good. Good. I was waiting for you to pop up over there on the YouTubies. You're welcome so much. It sucks. Like it really does to try and sit and think about, well, what am I going to do if this happens? And what am I going to do if this happens? And start planning everything out. It really does fucking suck. Like it really does. And it also really sucks to just be like, you know what? It is what it is. And this is what's going to happen. And don't think that, it's easy to just like free dive either, because it's not. It gets easier, but it's still hard to just feel, all right, I have faith that the universe is going to take care of me. Even the most devout religious people I know still have that little nervous thing in there, even when they're being told to have faith. Okay. I'm glad you felt the story was relevant too. I'm glad. All right, Miss Athena. Really, Athena? I'm going to pick that up exactly as it fell. Are you moving to go to school? Will everything come together? So the card that fell kind of whopper-jawed, and it's the revenge. It's revenge. These I pulled out together because they all kind of stuck out. Integrity, loss, deception. I'm going to give you just the straight answers to your questions. I see why that revenge is first and why it's whopper-jawed. Okay? So when a card comes out whopper-jawed like this, and this one fell just like this, okay? That means it's moving like this. If it was whopper-jawed like this, that would mean it's doing that. Okay? But we're going to talk about that in a minute. Are you moving to go to school by yourself? Yes. Yes. This is the integrity card. The answer is yes. The other reason that I say yes, this is loss. Your second question was waiting to see if someone transfers positions. This is loss. Will everything come together? No. This is the deception card. Somebody isn't telling you the truth. I don't know who. I don't know if it's that person or if it's somebody else, but somebody is not telling you the truth. The integrity card coming up when I ask if you are moving to go to school for yourself, this is something that you have to do for you. This is something you need to, I keep pointing at it like you're literally right there, that you need to do for you. Whatever this school aspect is, Athena, it's something that's really important to you going forward. It's really important to your path. And it's really important for not just your own personal integrity, but to add to that integrity, if that makes sense. The loss card just tells me that you are going to be moving by yourself. And it may be that you move by yourself and then that person moves later. It may be that. But yes, you're going to be moving by yourself. What I don't really care for is the deception card, especially knowing that the revenge card came out first, whopper jawed, it landed in the floor, like kind of a second thought kind of thing. I have a feeling when it... Here's my advice. Make your plans. Make your plans. Make your plans to move. Make your plans to get into school. Get all of this. You take care of you. You take care of you. Change how you're thinking about this person moving with you. Don't push. Stop pushing them to move with you. Because you want to know who's really doing the deception. Don't push. Just say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start planning to get this done. And if you can come, cool. If you can come later, cool. You know, I'll start kind of planning for you to be coming. But don't push anymore. The reason I say that is this fucking deception card. This right here. You changing your tone instead of pushing and constantly worrying about it and so on. If this person is meant to go with you, they'll go. Their job will be like, yep, you can now go work here. Or it might be, it'll be a couple months before we can transfer you. Cool. You need to find out who this deception is coming from. So if you stop pushing this person to go, the person that is working behind you, and I said it that way on purpose, they're going to come to light really, really quickly. So in other words, let's say that this is this person's best friend. Oh my God, I'm so glad you're not pushing them to go anymore. Oh, are you? Are you? It's going to come out really fucking quickly who this is that's trying to throw all of the wrenches in. I'm just saying. That's also why this came out whopper-jawed first. And I'm going to advise against doing anything quick revenge-wise. Let it simmer. Let it simmer. Play the long game with it. I have a feeling, thank you, whoever this is that's doing the deception, whoever is causing all the issues with this, it's going to piss you off. It's going to piss you off. Play the long game. I'm just saying. Play the long game. Playing the long game with revenge is my favorite fucking thing in the world. I'm not gonna lie. Because you're gonna allow this person to have a couple of wins right off. Okay, good. I'm glad that makes complete sense. I was waiting for you to pop up, Athena. It allows this person to have a couple of wins, and then they get really fucking cocky because they think they're in the right. And then this happens, and it's so much juicier because they've been a dick. You know what I mean? They've been walking around like, yeah, I can do this, blah, blah, blah. And then someone pulls all the rug out from under them, and they fall square on their ass and their face at the same time. And it's great. It's great. But yeah, there's something that somebody isn't telling you. Just saying. And the fact that these two cards, they kind of match up pretty closely with the way that that deity is on that card. They're like two sides of the same coin. It's somebody that that person knows. If it's not them, it's somebody that that person knows that they're trying to do this. So, girl, go to school, do your thing. Okay? This is for you, for your path. Do your thing. Okay? And then you can come share all the good juicy details with us. Because you know we want to know. You know we want to know. I'm just saying what I'm saying. I apparently got a little... Oh, I did not pay attention. I'm going to go ahead and turn my list off. So if you haven't got a card read yet, I'll do them again some other time. But I went ahead and cut that off because, yeah, my jaw ain't going to last that long. All right, Miss Kim, you ready? Those of you guys that are on my list, you're good, though. Don't worry about it, okay? All right. Kim B. Let me say that. What's going on in my crazy so-called love life, girl? Okay. Nope. And that's creepy. And, thank you. Let's address that because somebody needed attention. If you're going into people's live streams with the intent of reading them, you're a douche. And I'm going to say why. That is such an invasion of privacy. And there are some of us that have a lot of very good protections up. And baby, I hope you do try to read me. I hope you do. I'm not inviting you to, but I hope you try. There are some of us that have been in the in front of people for so long that we have our protections set. But don't come in and say that you want me to look into your eyes so you can read me. Man, fuck all the way off around the corner past Jupiter and then slam into the sun. Don't do that. That is so creepy. That's like me coming to your house, knocking on the door and saying, I'm going to go ahead and come in your house and go through all your drawers and look at all your stuff. Bitch, what? Don't do that. Would you be cool with somebody random that you don't know reading you? Would you be cool if somebody could read minds and just tapped into yours and started... Think about it. You know what's even funnier or worse? That's not the first time that we've had comments like that. It's not. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. What y'all don't see and what I don't show is that my stands, my phones My stands are both all warded. In between me and the camera at all times are some very interesting things. I also have a lot of tattoos. And in a lot of these tattoos are hidden things. So I'm just saying what I'm saying. All right, Kim. I'm going to read you guys her question again because this is funny. You ready? Her question is, what is going on in my crazy so-called love life? Destruction. Come on, you can't make this up. That's fucking funny. That's funny. Tell me it's not funny. I haven't even turned the other cards over yet. Resurrection. And temptation. All right. I want to point this out to you because I feel like you need to hear this really badly. When I set these cards down and I line them all up, these are three very powerful women. You have Kali Ma, you have Isis, and I know you guys all know who these two are, but let's talk about this one. Deer Woman is a Native American legend of a deity that can change back and forth into a deer, half woman sometimes. She's very powerful. She's very secretive. Like, she's very well known throughout the vast majority. Well, through the people that I know in different tribes all around the United States, she's very well known. Very similar to these two, but these two have become mainstream, whereas she hasn't. What's going on with your so-called love life? You are going through a mass destruction. But one thing, let me hold this up again. One thing I want to point out is, for those of you guys that are not familiar with Kali Ma, she is not only a destruction deity, but she is the mother of time. She's also technically a triple goddess. She has multiple forms. She is extremely powerful for destruction and creation. And I want you to look at her presence in this reading in your love life as the start of a wildfire. When a wildfire starts and it scorches all this land, right? The things that grow back there are going to be richer and fuller and bigger. And do you see what I'm saying? Whatever it was that was going on in your love life, this is going to be so cliche when it comes out of my mouth, but I don't know how else to say it, so bear with me. You've moved beyond that. You've moved way beyond that. This is why there are people that are trying to come back into your life, and normally, you know, maybe they've come in and out 7-8 times, and normally you'd be like, well, okay, you know, maybe they've changed this time. This time you're like, absolutely not. No. You're cutting people off right and left. You're making sure that you're not just cutting them off, but obliterating any bridge. No bridge. You don't get to come back. So this is the phase you're in right now, is this destruction phase. Nothing that used to be what you would term your love life is going to be left after this. The next part of this, and you're going to know that this is a thing when you are on a dating app or you're talking to somebody out somewhere or whatever, and you realize that that is not in any way, shape, or form the kind of person you would normally date. When you realize that the kind of person you would normally date, your type, you're suddenly like, ugh. That's when you know you've hit this. That's when you know you've hit this. This resurrection is going to be a little bit intense for you. And I have a feeling that you're going to go through a period of just being by yourself. Just being by yourself for a while. I would highly recommend just reading a little bit about Kali and Shiva's relationship. I would recommend you do. I just would. It's an interesting one. With Isis, it's interesting that she came up in the middle because I love, you can't make this shit up. Destruction, resurrection, temptation. When you move into the temptation aspect, let's talk about this though. When you move into the temptation aspect, I specifically made sure to point out that deer woman shifts and morphs from a deer into a woman back and forth. Deer represent peace. They represent a quiet strength. They represent stealth. They represent a lot of different things, more so than you would think a deer would represent. The fact that the temptation card is over here, lady, I would fully expect for you to go through with this resurrection a massive change in how you dress, how you look, how you hold yourself. Like this isn't just a destruction of whatever was going on with your love life. This is a destruction of anything that's no longer serving you going forward. In other words, you're about to start entering your dark feminine aspect. When you know that somebody has gone through a transformation and has entered their dark feminine because they look completely different. They look completely different. Not only do they look completely different, but people are drawn to them and don't know why. My friend, that will be you. And I think that this is probably going to happen over the next probably 6 to 7 months. And it's going to be a lot of change really quickly. So just enjoy the ride. That's all I can say. Just enjoy the ride. I know that's probably not what you were really expecting to hear. But thank God, I thought I was stuck with abuse and red flags. Aww. I'm glad that made a lot of sense. I know that sometimes it's not what everybody wants to hear. But I'm just saying. Miss Chelsea Smart, what are you doing? Okay. What are you doing, sugar? Oh, hold on just a minute. What? See if I can hit the right buttons. Yeah. Caught me a Dr. Love and stuff. I have time for that later. I will have time later. All right. What your higher self wants you to know? Purification, judgment, persuasion. Okay. It's kind of funny. You said, what is it that your higher self, guides need you to know? And you drew purification, judgment, and then persuasion. And I want you to notice their stances. This one is standing up tall, holding something. This one is kneeling, but holding something. And this one right here is laying down. Story time. Sometimes we have to go through phases of massive purification. And this isn't a destruction. This is a purification. This is going through and looking at literally everything. And I'm going to advise you to start with physical shit. Your closet, your cabinet, your whatever, your shed, your garage, whatever. Look at physical shit that you have. Start paring down stuff in your space. What's the reason I say that, and this is where I usually start to when I know that spiritually I've got something holding me back. I'm like, let me go clean out my closet. Let me go, let me do this. Because while I'm in there and I'm looking at all these clothes or shoes or whatever, and I'm like, man, I haven't worn that in like 4 years. I haven't worn those shoes in 6 years. Am I really going to wear those bitches? No. Do they have a sentimental meaning? Probably. That's why I kept them. Then let's say, okay, I have a pair of boots downstairs that I'm fixing to give away. I wore these bitches almost every fucking day. They're my pirate boots. They have this like folded thing on the side. I fucking love them, right? Like they legitimately look like pirate boots. I love them. However, I haven't worn them since 2021. I've just been carrying them around because I bought them when at a certain part of my life where I felt like I had to have someone in my life. Does that make sense? I felt like I needed someone in my life. And so when I look at those boots, I think about, I've actually bought them for a Halloween costume that the first Halloween we were together, I bought them for that. And then I wore them all the time because they were comfortable and I liked them. But I don't wear them now, and I haven't worn them since I broke up with that person. So when I was making the decision to get rid of them, I was like, oh man, but I really kind of like these. But in the same moment, I thought they're also a tie to something that I no longer am. They're a tie to a time that was a very transformative part of my life and gave me all of the stepping stones I needed to be where I'm at now. So go through and purify. I know that I saw you say, we're starting to do this last week. There is something else that you need to find. What is, you love allergies. I'm like, don't touch your eyeball. There is something else that you need to find that needs to go. Does that make sense? And to be honest, I think whatever this is probably something little bitty, something small. I'm proud of you for already starting this process, for already starting this purification process. I think when you keep going with this, I know it's gonna yawn. When you keep going with this, you're gonna find that there's a lot of things that you've been keeping, I'm gonna say under wraps, if that makes sense, that you've been keeping in a box that you haven't really pulled out and looked at because you feel like it's your way of holding on to judgment that is pushing you forward. When we have like, our favorite person, our favorite aunt or grandma or whatever that they're a little judgy, but we love the shit out of them. And so when they're kind of judgy a little bit, like, well, I don't really like that blue in your hair, you know. So you pull your hair up when they're around. We hold on to things that remind us of being judged. Does that make sense? We all do it. We all do it. For a while, after my first, well, before I got divorced from my first husband, and I'm telling you this for a reason, because I want you guys to understand what I'm talking about. I got called all of the fat names in the book. All of them. And I was called all these names to the point that cow was the favorite term of endearment. So what did I do? I went and bought cow print everything for my car. I bought seats. I bought a steering wheel cover. I bought mats. I bought visor covers. I bought pants. I bought shoes. I bought everything new that I bought was cow print on purpose. Because I was like, oh, okay. You want to judge me? I'm a fat fucking cow. Let's wear cow print. And I held on to those things after we split. And really, it was about 6 months into the divorce. And I went to get in my car and I was like, I don't want to look at that ugly shit anymore. And I ripped it all off and I got rid of it. But I kept it out of spite and out of this reminder, because during that 6 months as well, and here's the thing, this person required me to work out as soon as the doctor released me, and I got back to a size 0 really quickly because of him forcing me to do all these things. It was not a healthy weight loss, let's say that. So being judged and called overweight when I literally was a size fucking 0 affected me really deeply. And I kept that cow print shit in my car and everything else because it was a reminder that I wasn't good enough. Does that make sense? It was a reminder of being judged. It was a reminder of me being judged. And when I had that epiphany moment, like, you're keeping this and it's their way of continuing to judge you, even though you don't even talk to this person. It's their way of continuing to judge you. So whatever this little thing is that you haven't found yet during your purge, you'll find it. And when you do, you'll realize that you've been keeping it as a reminder of that. Whereas at first, those cow print seat covers, every time I saw them, I was like, haha, bitch, I'm down another, like, let me check my Fitbit. I'm down another 5 pounds, you know, like it was a push, a reminder, but it quickly became something weighing on me. When you find this piece of judgment that's still left and you get rid of it, it's going to turn you into a whole other being. And here's why I say that. Notice the colors of these two are kind of muted, right? See how they're, you know, this is the same kind of colors. I mean, this one is an Aztec deity. This one is, I want to say Sumerian. But notice that the colors are pretty similar, right? They're kind of muted. That one ain't. That one ain't. Do you see what I'm saying? This one stands out. So get rid of whatever this is that is still causing you to feel judged, even though that person, you don't talk to that person anymore. Because we all want you to be this. I think you're ready to be that. The other thing that I want to remind you as I'm wagging this card at you, like, the only person that you're really ever going to be in competition with or be able to be judged by is you. Is you. Don't forget that. Okay? That makes sense? You are so welcome, sweetheart. You are so welcome. I'm not gonna lie though, being in competition with yourself is fucking hard. It's hard. It's hard. Kelly B. Okay. What do you need to know for your higher self? Okay. You too, sugar. It's good to see you. So before I ever turn cards over, I want to remind you, this is for all of you, you're the one that holds the key to any lock in front of you. To any lock. You hold the key. The other thing I'm going to say is this. Rome wasn't built in a day. If something took you years to get into, it might take you a little bit to get out of it. Let's say that you've been you got married. You knew you shouldn't have really got married, but you did. And you stayed in that marriage for a long time. And it's bad. It's bad. So bad. But you've been in that marriage for like 15 years. I have no experience in this. You've been in that marriage for like 15 years. Everything you have is tangled together with this other person's. Everything. Your bank accounts, your cars, your houses, your pictures, your Christmas ornaments, all tangled together, right? It's going to take you a little bit to separate all that out. It's going to take you a little bit to put back money. It's going to take you a little bit to plan moving. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not something you can just be like, oh, I'm doing it in the morning. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but especially with kids after 15 years, that's a lot of fucking Christmas ornaments to go through. I'm just saying. But you hold the key to any lock that's in front of you. Ready? You can't make this shit up. This is a purification card. Y'all watched me shuffle. Y'all watch me shuffle. Creation. Deception. Okay. Will you get out of it? Yes. But it's going to take a little bit. How long a little bit is really up to you. And I'm going to tell you what each of these cards say about what you asked. I want to point this out, that this one, very powerful, standing, you know, with the scepter. This one, very powerful, standing with, you know, on the bed of creation and so on. Notice that they both have a lot of gold, right? And then notice this one. This one's deception. Notice that she's got her back to you. Notice the colors were cool. They're blue and white. They don't look like this one. Purification. Pretty self-explanatory. But you need to start purifying stuff in here. And let me explain that. Before you ever, we're just going to talk about this 15-year toxic marriage again. Before you ever decide that you're going to leave, okay? especially if you've been in a marriage for a very, very long time, been in a relationship for a very, very long time, you know that there's shit wrong. You do. You do. You don't need anybody to tell you. You don't need anybody to remind you. You don't need anybody's 2 cents. You know. But you have to have that epiphany moment. You have to have that epiphany moment. You know, we like to joke and say, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. Yes. Yes. And usually it's something pretty fucking small. Sometimes it's something huge, but sometimes it's something so fucking small you can't even measure it. And that's the moment that whatever was left, whatever block or wall or door, whatever was left is just obliterated. It's gone. It's gone. It could be as big as being cheated on. Thank you, Raspberry Pi. Appreciate that. Could be as big as being cheated on. It could be big as getting hit. It could be, you know what I mean? It could be big, big things. Or it could be so many tiny things that this one little teeny drop of sand went boop and it could just be that 594th time they call you that same name you hate. Does that make sense? I don't think that you have hit this moment yet. I don't think you've hit this moment yet in this situation. I think it's coming, and I think that it'll be the little drop of sand I just talked about. There's a big old pile, and it's just been piling up, and there's just going to take one more, and it's going to start that avalanche. Okay? When that purification happens, when that moment, that aha moment, that's when this comes in, the creation. This is when you start making plans. This is when you start getting ready to move. This is when you start getting rid of shit. This is when you start separating stuff. You're creating your own life separate from whatever this was. The deception card is interesting, and I have a different take on it than what y'all probably think. You know how we always talk about shoving emotions down into a little box and we'll deal with them later. You know, we'll deal with them later. That's exactly what I'm going to advise you to do. Here's why. When you're going through something that's really serious like that, when you're going through a massive change where every single thing about your daily life, the daily life that you've had every single fucking day for a long time, is suddenly about to just explode and change, that is not, and listen, hear me out, okay? That is not the time to quit smoking, okay? Let me explain that. If you know that you're fixing to go through the most stressful time of your life, don't start shadow work. Don't start shadow work. You'll break yourself. You'll break yourself. If you're going through one of the most destructive, creative, changing aspects of your life, where every single breath is going to be different than normal, every single moment of your day will now be different than it has been for years. That is not the time to start shadow work. Period. And you're going to hear people that say, oh, you should do this, and fucking shut up. If you're already stressed to the max and you're already upset and you're already dealing with all of the emotions that come just from the upheaval of the normal life into something different, and you try to throw shadow work in there on top of it, you will break yourself. You will break yourself. Now, I am not saying to shove everything in a box forever. I'm just saying that's not the time to quit smoking. It's not the time to, try to delve down the shadow work journey. Give yourself time to settle into the new aspect, to the new life, to all those things, okay? Give yourself time to do that. You'll know when you're ready to start shadow work. You will. And I'm going to say this too while I'm on the subject of shadow work. You cannot do shadow work every single day. You'll get to the point, if you've done it long enough for years and years and years, you'll get to the point where something happens and you go, oh, I wasn't triggered by that. Ha! You'll get to the point where somebody will say something that used to trigger you, and in your head, you'll go through 90 shadow work questions before you answer back very professionally. You'll know. You'll know when the time is right for you to do shadow work. And if you feel like the time is right and you get a workbook or you go on Google and you Google some prompts or whatever, and you're like, nope, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. Now, I don't recommend letting all of those feelings sit there and fester, because that's exactly what they'll do, is they'll sit there and fester. But during this time of change is not the time to do that. So that aha moment hasn't happened yet, but it will. It doesn't mean you can't already start on the creative part. It doesn't mean that you can't already start on the planning part. I'm just saying. Does that make sense, Miss Kelly? I mean, I hope so. Good. I'm glad that makes sense. And you are so welcome. You're so welcome. I'm gonna yawn again. Why am I yawning again? Why am I yawning again? It's bullshit. All right. So I have Miss Noemi, Christine, Amanda, Jodie, Nicole, Lenzie, Alisha, Tanya, Jessica. Okay. Just did Kel. Okay, there. I was like, wait a minute, I just fucked up my thing. Because I saw somebody asking where they were in the list. That's why I wanted to read you, like, who else was on my list. All right, Noemi, are you ready? What is that person's deal with you? Anything your guides want you to know? You got it. You got it. All right. So card for you over here. Card for the person over here. Why you gotta be doing a lot of... So I'm trying to draw one of these cards for the person over here, and they keep wanting to pull out 3 cards. All right. So let's talk about you first, and then we'll talk about this person. Girl, I'm fixing to mom you. I don't know how old you are, but I'm fixing to mom you. You have the obsession card and the caretaker of the lost. Sweet pea. You can't fix all the broken people. You can't bring all the stray puppies home. Other people need stray puppies too. This obsession card is very interesting. I knew that was coming. I don't think... Now, here's the thing. I don't think that you're obsessed with this person. Okay? I think that it's obsessed with an idea. Whether it's the perfect relationship or, you know, the perfect look, or I don't know what it is. You're obsessed with some aspect, like a rags to riches story. I hope that makes sense. I say that because of this caretaker of the lost card. This obsession is something that I have a feeling has been there for a very long time with you. Probably, you probably grew up like the fucking rest of us did with, you know, it has to be a Cinderella wedding and all this shit like that, right? But we get obsessed with this idea of the perfect relationship, the perfect person, that our soulmate is this glorious person that comes in and it's like, ah, and the whole world changes. And that's not really the way it is in real life. With that caretaker of the lost, though, usually when someone draws that card, they try to bring the stray puppies home because they need something like that fixed within them. So they feel if they can fix the stray puppy, then they have fixed themselves. Does that make sense? I'm not going to say to give up this obsession. I'm not. Because I don't think that it's an unhealthy obsession. The reason that I say I don't think it's an unhealthy obsession is because it's allowed you to have standards and not just take every stray puppy home. If I felt like you were just bringing all the puppies into the house, I'd be like, oh, okay, let's look at something else, right? But I feel like this obsession has been putting walls between you and people on purpose. And I think it's a good thing. And I think that after you are standing behind the wall for a long time and you've been trying so hard, my whole ear is ringing, and you've been trying so hard to like, I just want to bring this puppy in the house, you know, and the puppy can't come in the house because suddenly it's too big. After the puppy wanders off somewhere else, you go, right? Right? So I am not going to tell you to give up that obsession because it is putting goals, it's putting standards, and it's putting boundaries in place. So I'm not going to tell you to give that up. I am going to advise you maybe to not try to bring the stray puppies home. So what I'm going to advise you I'm going to advise you to do today. What I'm going to advise you to do, look at your last few relationships, like the last 4 or 5. What is the main thing that you disliked about every one of those people? The first thing that comes to your mind, okay? Make a list, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 being the most recent, 5 being, you know, the 5th one back. And I want you to look at the first thing that comes to your mind. Were 4 of them like really slobby? Were all 5 of them hateful? Were they bossy? You see what I'm saying? I want you to look at what is the main thing that you disliked the most that person did or was. And then I want you to look at some shadow work prompts for relationships on, I'm trying to remember how to word it. It's like when you see something in someone else that you dislike about yourself. There we go. There's a term for it. Brain, not braining. But I want you to do that. I think that it's going to open your eyes up to why you continually pick the same person. Does that make sense? Over and over. All right, now let's look at his. His card is Nyx and Respite. So this is just like taking a rest. But he also has Genie the Maid, which is disillusionment, humility. The champion aspect of Genie the Maid bothers me a little bit, especially because I want you to look at how she sits on the throne right there, right? She's very nonchalant. She's just chilling out. And I want you to look at this one. You know, this one, the disillusionment is what caught me first. Now, I don't think this person's a bad person. I really don't. What these 2 cards tell me is there's some really deep fucking hurt in there that they're trying to figure out. I don't think that they mean to put that kind of hurt on anybody else, but I think it's just happening. I think that they're very disillusioned with what they think they want in a relationship. And so they get into a relationship and they're hot and heavy and it's just like, bam, you know, they're all about it. And then suddenly they pull way back because they're like, whoa, I jumped in too quick. It's like they make decisions and then they pull back on them. I think that there's some really deep underlying issue that's causing them to do this. It's causing them to act like this. There's a disillusionment with how they're supposed to heal from this stuff. Like, I'm going to liken this to if someone was in a horrendously abusive relationship. You get out of that relationship, you escape, you get out of that relationship, you're doing good, you go to therapy, like you do all the things, right? And you get back out into the dating market and you realize you're picking the same motherfucker over and over and over and over. But this time, you're the one that's doing the shit. You're the one, you catch yourself like rushing in. You know how narcissistic people, they rush in, especially with empathic people, because they want to feed off of your energy. So they rush in, they relationship immediately, and then when they get the relationship, then they're like, oh, huh, and they pull back, and then they're like non-existent. That's what I feel is going on. They have never had a solid relationship to look up to. They've never had a healthy relationship to look up to, so they don't know how to be in one. I don't think that this person is even ready to learn how to be in a solid relationship. My advice personally would be just to kind of cut this person off. Seriously. Nicely. You know what I mean? But I would pull your energy and your obsession back from this person and know that this is a puppy this puppy belongs with somebody else. This puppy belongs with somebody else. It's not your, you don't want all the puppy poo all over your floor. Does that make sense? Let them go puppy poo somewhere else. They're not ready for a relationship. They might say they are, but they're not. They're not ready to put in the work. They're not ready for any of that. They're not ready for any of that. And I don't think they will be for a long time, if ever. And I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear or not. I'm sorry if not. But yeah, I would just let go of the leash. I would just let go of the leash. Let them go do whatever. Let them go poo on somebody else's floor. Let them go do that. It's what you needed to hear for sure. Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Like I said, I don't think they're a bad person. I really don't. I just think that there's so much trauma and they wear it like some armor, and nobody's going to be able to get through it until they're ready to take the armor off. So, let them go wreak havoc in somebody else's yard. Because that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Just saying. I'm glad it's what you needed to hear. All right, Kaden. Okay. You are so welcome, sweetheart. I'm going to see a puppy every time I see them. I mean, you're welcome. All right. Is Christine still here? I thought I saw her a second ago. Are you getting rain up there, Christine? We just had a big old crap load move through and we got more heading this way. All right. I was looking at the radar. I was like, it got really quiet. We just had a nasty one move through. Oof. little bit of thunder left. Not yet. It's so weird the way these storms came up catty corner like that. They, I only live maybe 20 miles from where Kirsten's dad lives. And it literally just skirted where, like, they didn't get any rain, but we got crazy amounts of rain just a little bit ago. So, all right, you ready? The storming out in western Oklahoma. I saw that. Y'all had some big ones move through over there. Thank you guys for all the new follows. Appreciate it. All right. Should he graduate this winter or continue for his MBA? Atonement, redemption, secrecy. And then this one is the eternal servitor, which is hope and yearning and incompleteness that I drew. Because I'm like, that's a weird 3 cards to come up for that question. My question is going to be, has someone been putting it in his ear that he shouldn't continue? And I don't mean like just talking about it. I mean like, the reason I ask is because of that secrecy card. It's almost like somebody's in his ear that has him believing that he can't do it. The school asked him to stay and work at the school while getting his MBA. That's fantastic. I would say yes. Like, as a mom, I would say yes. But there's this atonement right here. If the secrecy wasn't there, I wouldn't say that. But there's something going on where it's like a little voice that's like, you know, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to say this. The redemption, the secrecy, first of all, the secrecy card, let's talk about it. I don't like that came up third. And with what you said, I would not be surprised if someone's a little jealous. I would not be surprised if there's someone that is not, like, I mean, they're not happy that he got that offer. Whether it's because they wanted that offer or whether it's because they feel like he's lucky or, you know, whatever. Maybe they didn't work enough like he did. He doesn't need to tell everybody until he makes the decision and everything is set in stone, because I don't like that. I drew that other card because that was just a weird spread to come out for that question. It was just a weird spread, right? He wants to be done, but they have him questioning. Okay. You don't need my lap right now, sugar. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay. The redemption card. I understand the appeal of being done. I understand the appeal of graduating, getting out into the job market, etc. But the Eternal Servitor card right here tells me that if he doesn't stay to do the MBA, he's going to always wonder what if. He's going to always wonder what if. Because these other 3 cards right here lead me to believe that I'm just going to say he should stay. I'm just going to say he should stay. Because even if getting an MBA is something that he really, really wants to do, I mean, how many of you guys have quit school or graduated and been like, I'll go back for my MBA or something later, and then never did? if this card right here had been any different, I probably would say something different. But the fact that this is hope and yearning and incompleteness, I would say I would advise him to stay. I really would. I would advise him to stay and get the MBA, work at the school. Like that's a great offer. That's a great offer. The enticement of being done now and not having to continue to go to school, I mean, I understand that completely, but I don't like that eternal servitor card right there. I think that if he leaves now, getting that MBA won't happen. I think that it won't happen. And he's always going to have that hole of what if, that regret of not doing it. So yeah. But like I said, that secrecy card kind of bothers me a little bit. So until he makes the decision of what he's going to do, I wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't tell anybody. Like I said, I don't know if this is somebody that's jealous. I don't know if this is somebody that's been in his ear. Or I don't know. I don't know, but I don't like it. Just saying. I'm just saying. Like I kind of like doing this, like instantly like eagle eye on shit. But I mean, ultimately it's going to be whatever he wants to do, but my advice would be to stay. My advice would be to stay, because everything right here leads me to believe that it won't happen. The MBA won't happen if he gets out into the job market right now. So yeah, that's my advice. I'm not saying, let me hang on. I'm not saying if he gets out in the job market right now that he won't be successful, because I think he will. I think 100% he will. So he graduates, he goes on, gets a great job, and starts his life. Like that's what'll happen. You know what I mean? But he'll always have that what if. And this is a big decision, because it's going to set him on one of two different paths. You know, one of graduate this winter, get out into the world, start your life, start doing the adult things and being the adult. Or take that next step up, and when you get out into the world, you have a bigger thing to start on. You have a bigger springboard to start with. So my advice would be to stay. So. You're welcome. May not be what he wants to hear. Just saying. May not be what he wants to hear. Yeah. I mean, it's on YouTube, so he can listen to it. Hi, Caden. All right. Amanda. Alabama. That's awesome. Are you on the right track? Before I ever turn the cards over, I'm just going to say we're always on the right track. Just sometimes we go on side quests. Speaking of that, I'm going to say this real quick because it's funny. I saw the funniest damn video. I don't remember if it was on YouTube or TikTok, but it was like when somebody hacks the game and the players were going up to the NPC and it kept saying like this crazy shit like "more dick" and stuff like that. And I almost fell the fuck out of bed last night. I laughed so hard. I laughed so fucking hard. I laugh so fucking hard. Some of y'all that are gamers, you know damn well that would be, you would laugh. You know damn well. All right. Let me read for Amanda. Appearance, seduction, and purification. Okay. The short answer to your question, am I on the right track, is yes. But yes, but the path, your path, instead of being like a normal, like, you know, Amanda-sized path, suddenly has gotten so fucking big that you don't know where the path really is anymore. That's why you feel like you've gotten off the path. All right, so you have appearance, you have seduction, and then you have purification. This one right here. Thought I was going to yawn, but I just needed 2 deep breaths. You've been taking on so many things on your path. And so it's taken your path from like this to this, to this, to this, to where you can't even see the sides of your path anymore. A lot of times we take on shit, whether it's projects, whether it's friends, whether whatever, we take on all this shit to kind of keep up appearances that we're doing everything, that we're helping everybody, and so on. I'm just going to say this, that appearances are not all they're cracked up to be. Appearances are not all they're cracked up to be. How many times have you guys been to a group meeting somewhere, whether it's church, whether it's at school, whether it's family reunion, whatever, and there's, let's just say Sue over there. Sue has all these things that she's doing, right? Everybody brags on how cool Sue is and how much Sue does, and they don't know how she does it and so on. But yet, at, let's say family reunion, because we've all been there, done that, everybody over here is like, yeah, but she's such an overachiever. I knew she was going to do this anyway. And she never did. You know what I mean? They're going to badmouth you anyway. They're going to badmouth you anyway. So if you're keeping up appearances for other people, if you're taking on all of this stuff and widening your path over and over and over for other people who are just going to talk bad about you anyway, what's the point? Does that make sense? For the longest time, I'm just gonna, I feel like this is relevant. For the longest time, I'm actually a natural redhead. As I get older, my hair's turning white. I'm okay with that. I'm down. But for the longest time, I kept my hair blonde. I bleached it. I dressed a certain way. I looked a certain way. I held myself a certain way because I was trying to keep up appearances for someone else. I wanted full sleeves since I was a kid. My dad came home with a cool rose tattoo to cover his little polio injection from when he was younger. And I fell in love with tattoos because I was like, that's fucking wicked. I grew up in the 80s with the punk rock scene and all that shit. I've wanted tattoo sleeves since I was a kid. I didn't get them during that time of my life because I was trying to keep up appearances. And I hit the moment when I got divorced that, oh my God, if I want to shave the sides of my head, I can. Oh my God, if I want to get more tattoos, I can. Oh my God, if I want to tattoo the side of my neck, I can. Oh my God, if I want to spend a year and go to the tattoo parlor every month, I can get my sleeves and almost a whole jacket because I can. When you stop trying to keep up appearances for everybody else, you finally are able to step into who you actually are. My kid and I had a conversation on the way back from West Virginia about being happy with yourself. My kid has, I just want to brag for a second. Kay has like the coolest fucking style, I swear. This kid looks like if you took like 50s pinup girls and 60s, you know, the boofy, or I guess it would be 70s, the feathery hair or whatever. She looks like she stepped out of like several different genres at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. But she loves the vintage look. Like she just has this crazy awesome style, right? And so we were talking about being happy with yourself first, and then you can be happy with other people. We're taught the opposite. We're taught the opposite. We're taught to have an appearance for other people first. And then maybe someday, then maybe we can be who we want to be. And that is bullshit. So my first piece of advice is going to be to stop taking on all these other projects and things to keep up appearances. The next one is this one. Am I on the right track? This is the seduction card. I feel like the reason you're asking this question specifically is because it's like, here's the path you're supposed to be on. There's this other path that's over here that's like, what's up? Look at how cool I am. Look at me glitter. Look it. Every time, and I want every one of you to listen to this, okay? Every single time you get on the path you're supposed to be on, the universe sends a test. Every single time. You get on the path you're supposed to be on, and the universe sends a test. Because if you fail that test, you're going to get off of the path you're supposed to be on and be somewhere over there on a side quest. And there's no telling if, when you're done with that side quest, you'll get back on the path you were supposed to be on. Sometimes you will. Sometimes the universe will bring you back to that path every single time. But right now, part of the reason why you're asking if you're on the right track is because there's a seductive other path, and you're wanting to know, should I veer off over here? No. No. Y'all remember in the original like Alice in Wonderland cartoon when she's in the forest and she's walking down the red path, right? And she hears this sound, and there's a dog with a sweeper brush face, and he's like sweeping all the path, and she just stops and stands there, and he sweeps right up to her feet, and then he goes around her and he sweeps all of that, and she's just left on that square. Or you're super comfortable with your blanket and you have to get up and change it 9 times. Don't get off the path. The other thing I'm going to say is this, because I just gave you that analogy about Alice in Wonderland, and then I said don't get off the path. You don't have to have a big bright red carpet or runway lights to walk the path. You don't, I promise. Sometimes when there's a left or a right and you have to pick one, you just pull out the machete and go straight. Do you see what I'm saying? You will 100% know when you're on the right path. Because somebody asked, how do you know when you're on the right path? You have to open your eyes and pay attention. You'll know that you're on the right path because you'll see crazy repeating numbers. You'll see your lucky number everywhere. There will be signs all the time about being on the right path. There will be things that pop up and happen that you're like, Lee, I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm glad I didn't do that. Glad I didn't date that person. Glad I didn't date that person. You'll get confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. Just saying. All the time. Oh, thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. This one, though, the purification. Remember how I started this and I said that your path has gotten so big that you can't even see it anymore? And now it's starting to do this. When you start purifying a bunch of the bullshit off the sides of the path, it's going to start... Yeah, you did, Samantha. You're going to start like... Your path is going to start narrowing. It's going to start narrowing. And when it starts narrowing, you're going to cut a lot of toxic people out. You're going to cut a lot of toxic situations out. You're going to find that you no longer have the time nor tolerate bullshit or hate or trolls. You're going to find that there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to pare down until you're back on a path again. So I'm going to say this, Amanda. Yes, you're on the right path. You've always been on the right path. You just have some temptation things over here trying to get you to go on some little side quest. There's a lot of times that side quests pop up and they will 100% deter you from what you're supposed to do. One of the best pieces of advice I can give you guys... Ooh, the temperature dropped again. That's fucking stupid. One of the best pieces of advice that I can give you guys about knowing if you're on the right path is this. When you feel like you're doing good, when you feel like you're on the right path and something pops up, whether it's a job offer or a new relationship or whatever, before you make a decision, just step back for a little bit. Just step back for a little bit. There's nothing, unless it's a life or death, literal life or death situation, that you need to give someone an answer to in that moment. Seriously. If somebody wants you to make a decision on a job right now, I need your answer right now. Why? Why do you need my answer right now? If they need an answer on a relationship right now, why? Why are they trying to push you into doing that? There is not a damn thing at all that can't wait a couple hours or a day or 2 or 3 days. Not a damn thing. Unless, like I said, it is literally a life or death situation. I hope that helped, Amanda. I hope that helped. Yeah, the trolls have been trying to up their troll game a little bit. Jodie, you were next. But I'm just going to say this, like, at this point, I've been on TikTok for way too long. I've been on YouTube for way too long. Like, I'm sorry that you feel the need to be mean to other people. I mean, I don't know if your mommy don't love you or what. I'm so sorry that you feel the need to be mean to other people. I've never understood that. Aw, you're so welcome, Crystal. I've never understood that. Like, I haven't. If I don't like somebody, like, I just don't fucking talk to you. If I don't like somebody, I don't watch their videos. I don't go into their lives. If I don't agree with something someone's saying, I just go like, boop. Boop. Like, that's it. I can do it with both thumbs. Boop, boop. What's up, Jodie? You know what I mean? I've never understood that. I've never understood the need to just be mean. To be mean to somebody. I've never understood. I just don't understand. But what I do love, though, what these trolls don't realize that they're doing is when they come in and they make a hateful comment, it just pushes me up in the FYP. It does. It does. It just pushes you up in the FYP. Just saying. You know what's really funny? Because I see that comment. Hang on, let me go back down. Stacy said, it's so easy to be nice instead. It is. My kid and I had a long talk this weekend too, because there was a lot of things that happened. And my kid actually got a little mad at some things this last weekend and was like, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you say something? And I told my kid that tact is a thing. Tact is an art that's been lost. And being professional and being kind doesn't ever cost you anything. Especially when you're on any type of social media. People love drama. People love drama. And if you have drama, they will be all up in it, stirring it. I'm very careful with my reputation, with how I come across to people. I never ever want anyone to meet me in person and walk away and say, my God, what a bitch, or what a diva, or whatever. Now, if you walk away and you're like, that's a weird motherfucker, I could probably take that. I don't care. But I never want someone to have a bad experience, okay? Because unfortunately, part of having celebrity clients, part of traveling, part of being guests at shows and stuff like that, is that I get to meet a lot of people. And there are some movies and TV shows that have been ruined for me forever, because of my perception or something that has happened with an actor or actress. And so I was trying to explain that to my kid. We went out to eat on Saturday with like the whole big group of people, right? We went to a hibachi place, and we all got fortune cookies at the end, and I kept mine because it was an interesting weekend. We'll just say that. And I had just finished explaining this to my kid, what I just told y'all. And I want to read you this because of that. Be kind and you'll never walk alone. Now, a lot of people would look at that and be like, what the fuck kind of fortune is that? It was my reminder that being kind and being a good person is exactly who I always should be. Do I have some fuck around and find out moments? You bet. Do I finally get mad after someone's pushed me pretty fucking far? Yeah, you bet. But you know what? There's that old saying, you catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar. So, yeah, that drink was phenomenal. I introduced Shauna to plum wine. That's fucking banana. But a lot of people don't think about that anymore. They think about me. They think about whatever they need to do to get ahead. If you're working hard enough, you're on the right path, and you're a good person, you're going to zoom ahead. It's not going to matter what you do or who you step on. And the people that you step on, they don't forget that. The people that you help, they don't forget that. So I'm just saying. Don't forget, it doesn't cost you a damn thing to be nice. It doesn't. So, somebody need to hear that. Somebody need to hear that. All right, Jodie. What do my guides want me to know? Apparently, to be nice. No, I'm just kidding. That's one thing that I am so grateful. I grew up with, apparently somebody needs to hear this. I grew up with a dad who was very, very tactful and very professional. And my very first big girl job, y'all, if you followed me for any length of time, you know, was an editorial in a massive publishing company. And I worked under the only female managing editor in the company at the time in the 90s. And what she taught me, I learned the perfect art of writing a fuck you email in a very nice way. It's like my favorite thing that I know how to do. But the way she taught me to be kind, the way she taught me to be hard at the same time and unwavering. The way she taught me how to handle myself is a lot of who I am today, if that makes sense. I watched her do all kinds of nice things behind the scenes. While I was working there was an employee who lost everything in a house fire, and they were doing a donation box and people were bringing stuff and so on and so forth. I watched her donate over $1,000 to that and do it anonymously. I watched her do so many different things anonymously, and it instilled something in me. Even though if you were dealing with her business-wise, she was a hard ass. She wanted it perfect, and it better damn well be perfect. But she probably is one of the most kindest people I've ever met in my life. Ever. One time I had to borrow some money because I was going through a divorce, couldn't find a place to live, and I just needed some help. And she loaned me some money. And when I tried to give it back to her, she said, find somebody else that needs it more than me. So I did. Several times over. It costs you absolutely nothing to be nice. Nothing. Okay? Whenever you guys are feeling down, whenever you're depressed, whenever you have a time where you're like, I'm not good enough, I suck, my life is shit, here's what I want you to do. I want you to just try this. Thank you for listening to me vent for a minute, Jodie. Not really venting, but you know what I'm saying. I want you to try this. This is one of my favorite things to do when I feel like shit. So like later tonight when my jaw is hurting and I got all the weird face things on, this is what I'll do. I'll get on TikTok, and I'll get on, my nose ring is crooked. I'll get on this account, my big account, and I'll just start scrolling through people's live streams. When I come across somebody that's got 2 people in there, I will tap the fuck away, get some more people in there. If I see that they're a little bitty creator, I'll usually drop a galaxy. A lot of the money that you guys give in gifts ends up going to smaller creators because it's my favorite thing to do. I love a newer creator's reaction when they get a big gift. They're so grateful. I'll come in and I'll drop some gifts and I'll give them encouragement, and I'll pick out something I really like about them and give them a compliment. You know, like, dude, your hair is fantastic. Your eyes are gorgeous. Your shirt is fun. You know what I mean? Like, I will do something nice. I will say something nice because I have been on TikTok for way too fucking long, and I have heard the worst of the worst of the worst. And if y'all saw half of the messages in my inbox, you would be like, what the actual hell fuck? Internet bullying is a thing, and there's really, unfortunately, no way to stop it. So I try to do whatever I can to encourage other people. So if y'all have a day when you're feeling like shit, you're feeling down, you feel like the world hates you or whatever, it's going to suck to make yourself do it in the moment, but I promise once you do it a little bit, your whole life will feel better. Just scroll through somebody's lives. Just scroll through somebody's lives. And just give them a compliment. You don't even have to send them any money. Just give them encouragement. Tap a little bit. Tapping and then giving them, you know, answering questions, talking to them, etc. That pushes them up in the For You page. It pushes their videos up in the For You page. Like, that's the best thing that you can do. I'm just saying. Do it. Do it. All right, Jodie. What do your guides want you to know? All right. Judgment. Equality. Abuse. That went off the rails real quick, Jodie. off the rails real quick. Son of a bitch. Hell. Okay, hold on. There it is. Way down there. Way down there. I don't know. When did I get this? I got this in November. I picked it up exactly how I felt. I don't know if they still have them or not, but it's like the squishy one. And the straw bends, like there's a thing in the middle and it bends in half so you can put it in a suitcase without it getting crushed. This is my favorite fucking thing. This is almost like my whoopee. Like it goes everywhere with me. I love that thing. My son made fun of me. He was like, you're going to pick that up and crush it. Boy, I ain't got hand strength to crush that. I've typed for 30 fucking years. What? All right. King Arthur. Companionship, nobility, self-realization. All right. What do you guys want you to know? Do you know the story of King Arthur, Jodie? Here's why. The fact that King Arthur came up last, right here, this is a pattern. Bad, good, bad. Do you see what I'm saying? Judgment, equality, abuse. This is like a pattern. So what this tells me is there have been a lot of really, I don't know the right word. Tough is not the right word. Hard is not the right word. Shitty shit, tough areas of your life. I didn't want to say times because it's like an area. There's been a lot of times when you have felt way less than. And I think that you felt so much less than for so long that even when you're up here, you're way more than, you still feel like this. Like you feel like you can't ever even get to here. Okay? You strive for this equality. You strive to be even with everybody else. And when that happens, you feel like you let your guard down and then all this other stuff starts happening. All this other stuff starts happening. It's like this crazy cycle. Except the bottom part seems to be way bigger than that top part. The reason I ask if you know the story of King Arthur is because I feel like it's exactly like this right here. An overview, if you guys don't know. If you don't know the story of King Arthur, what's wrong with you? This is like a great story. But the overview of it is he's an orphan. He's taken in by somebody who trains knights and so on. He basically is their squire, their wash boy, everything. Treated like shit. Takes it and takes it and takes it forever. And then ends up fucking something up. He forgets the sword for the guy that's that he's supposed to be the squire for. So he goes to find another sword. And the only sword he can find is this huge one that's stuck in a stone. And the little scrawny kid pulls the sword out of the stone and takes it back to the knight, not realizing that it's anything special. And becomes king because he pulled that sword out of the stone. And when he becomes king, he ushers in an era of prosperity and happiness and so on. But the judgment of not belonging, the striving for equality and trying to do everything you can to make other people around you happy, and then the abuse that you take in the process, all end up forging something and forging someone that is more powerful than anybody ever thought. And it's really funny that I just went off on that tangent about being nice and being kind, because Jodie, have you ever heard the saying that you can't know kindness without knowing meanness? You can't be gentle without knowing danger. You can't. The nicest people are the ones who have experienced the worst of humanity. I know it was not really the saying, but y'all know what I'm saying. The nicest people are the ones that are, you know, capable of the greatest damage. I feel like that's exactly what this is. What do your guides want you to know? Thank you, Crystal. They want you to know that every single bit of this that you've gone through, all of the trauma, all of the abuse, all of the judgment, all of the striving to be more, all of those things have forged you into this. They have forged you into what you are. Okay? All right. You wanted some attention. There you go, Sugarfoot. Don't be creepy. They have forged you into what you are now. And I think that you're at a pivot point where you can either go back into this cycle or step away and be something more. Does that make sense? All of that's done. Don't mess with that anymore. We don't want to mess with any of this anymore. None of this over here. Okay? Just saying. I mean, it's a good night to watch Sword in the Stone. It's a good night to, you know, watch something about King Arthur. I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm glad that made sense. I'm glad that made sense. I'm glad it's right on. I find it really funny that I had that big long talk about kindness and then that reading came up. Like, you can't make this shit up. I'm just saying. All right, Nicole, are you ready? Aw. It's funny, I drew your cards before I ever even looked at your question. All right, Nikki. What do you need to know about your current relationship? I got you. I don't believe in coincidences. Yeah. I don't believe in coincidences. Nothing is a coincidence. All right. You, other person, significant other, what's going on? Ready? Okay. You got it. Now remember, I drew these before I ever looked at your question. And your card is interesting because this is the desperation card. So what this tells me, I don't think you're desperate, so please don't think that. What this tells me is that you're in a mode of trying to do anything you can for the relationship. Like you're desperate to, I'm not wanting to use the word save. It's like there's an urgency there. Does that make sense? And there's an urgency an underlying sense of urgency. I can't wait to see these cards in the middle. But let's look at their card. Their card is temptation. The middle card of what's going on with your relationship is loss. Can't make this shit up. And the Lady of Masks, which is surface appearance, vanity, and reclaiming something. The person that you're in the relationship with, the temptation card doesn't always mean somebody else, but I have this feeling that there's a lot of other things kind of swirling around them, that they're getting pulled in multiple ways. I do think that there is somebody that's trying to persuade them to cheat, to talk to them, to whatever. I also feel like I feel like that's one specific person. And I also feel like there is some big underlying thing right here with their job, career, whatever it is. There's some big underlying thing right here. They're either tempted to take a job and move somewhere else. They're tempted to take a promotion. There's some big temptation there with their job that literally would pull them away from their relationship, if that makes sense. And I think that you feel this. You feel this push and pull of what's going on. And I understand now why the desperation card came up. A lot of times when we're around somebody enough, it doesn't matter if you have gifts. It doesn't matter. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It doesn't matter if you're a piece of cake or whatever. I have to say it that way because it's funny. You get to know their mannerisms. You get to know their words. You get to know if they breathe a certain way, you know, like, all right, what's wrong? You did the breath thing. You know what I mean? You know something's wrong. You know something's off. The Lady of Masks, the surface appearance card. I think that they're keeping up appearances in too many different facets of their life. So they're keeping up an appearance for you. They're keeping up an appearance for their boss, for their family, for this person, whatever. They're keeping up all these appearances, okay? The problem with this is that eventually they're going to figure out which mask they were wearing for which person, and it's all going to topple. My advice in seeing this loss card in between the two of you, my advice would be to kind of, if y'all are just talking, just dating, just seeing each other, and y'all don't live together, I would probably start backing off. I would probably start backing off. And I'm going to say these next wordy words out of my face. I have actually said these words to a lot of people over the last few years in trying to date. But you know if you're a priority in a relationship. Am I right? You know if you're someone's priority. If you're going to date someone and you are not their priority, maybe you're 3, 4, 5 down on the priority poll. If you aren't the priority, then you need to go ahead and just remove yourself from the list. You are the first choice or no choice. I just want all of you to hear that. You are the first choice or no choice. Because if you don't set that boundary, then they will keep you in that taffy puller and that push-pull over and over and over and continue to do whatever the fuck they want to do. And by telling somebody that if you're not the first choice, then you're no choice and you'll go ahead and take yourself out of the running. Some people will instantly block you, and that's fine. Some people will want to argue with you about it. I don't argue. And then some people will say, I am so sorry that I made you feel that way. That is not the case. They'll try to fix it, right? I saw that you said you have an intense connection with this person. My opinion with these cards is that they're not all in. They're not all in. And they won't be all in. I think that if you try to pull back, they'll let it go for a day or two, and then they'll bombard you again with, oh, I was just busy. I'm so sorry, baby. They'll bombard you with that. My advice would be to cut it off. It would be to cut it off. And not to break when they message you a week later, I miss you so much, because the other person has dumped them. I would cut it off. Because that lost card being in the middle of the two of you, before I ever even looked at it, yeah, I would cut it off. You need somebody that is going to make you the priority. Just saying. Yeah. You need somebody that's going to make you the priority, Nikki. They aren't. So, I'm glad that you told him if it happens again, you were out. Yeah. Yeah. That's a big thing. I understand being single for a while and getting set in your ways, but 2 years is not really that long of a time period to be single. It is and it's not. You know what I mean? And yeah, you get set in your ways, but here's the thing. It doesn't matter how long you've been single. 2 months, 2 years, 30 years. If you meet somebody that you really like, if you're dating somebody that you're really interested in, you're not going to use that excuse. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I personally would cut it off. I would. And know that he's going to come back in a week or two and, I'm so sorry, but won't have changed. And I'm sorry. I know that you're probably wanting advice on, like, how do I fix this? I would cut it off. I would. So, yeah. Charts aside, I mean, you can have tons of matches chart-wise, and it would, it'd be a great relationship, but if one person is not ready, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's just like that old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You could be the perfect person. You could be the love of their life. And if they're not ready, they're not ready. Yeah. That's my advice. I wish I could be like, oh, do this and this and this and it'll fix it. But I don't think he's ready to be fixed yet. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know that's totally not what you wanted to hear. And I always feel bad because I'm like, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch! Yeah, don't fix anyone. Don't fix anyone. You can't. I mean, really, you can't. It's like trying to be responsible for someone else's happiness. You can't. You can't. If you were to try to be if you were to try to be in charge of everybody else's happiness, no one would be happy. No one would be happy. All right, Lenzie I. Whatever is needed to be told. All right. All right. Brandon, are you still here? Before I turn cards over, I just wanted to give a shout out to Brandon. Tell me that manifestations don't work. Brandon manifested the perfect place to move, the perfect house. I just wanted to acknowledge that. I'm so proud of that for you. So proud of that for you. It's such a good feeling when your manifestations, when you see it on a bigger scale, on a grand scale. So I saw your message earlier and I just wanted to say congratulations. I just want to say congratulations. You're welcome. When do you guys get to move? I love that. People don't realize there are some old houses in Oklahoma. On the 25th. Oh, wow. That's not very far. That's like next week. Yeah? Next weekend. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. I wanted to make sure to acknowledge that. I wanted to make sure to acknowledge it. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. All right. Ready, Lenzie? Whatever needs to be told. Right now, this bracelet needs to be told to stop grabbing my hair. Resurrection. Hathor. Anubis. And Lilith. Okay. Find it very interesting that you have 3 Egyptian deities out of 2 decks. 3 Egyptian deities. Okay. So you have the main Egyptian goddess Isis. You have Hathor, who is like culture, communication, the life of the party. And then you have Anubis, who is the god of the underworld. I'm going to say the weirdest thing, and for some reason I feel like it needs to be said. Girl, start a party in the underworld. Start a party down there. Sometimes we get kicked and we get so far down a path and we look around and we're like, damn, like I am really, really down here in the fucking dregs. You know what? Start a fucking party. Start a fucking party. Anywhere could be a party. Doesn't matter if it's the underworld or, you know, up here in a big mansion. It don't matter. Start a party. I just think it's funny that you have like the main goddess of, you have Isis of this resurrection, and then you literally have the Egyptian god of culture and parties, and then you have Anubis. Like, it's funny. It's funny. All three of these are Egyptian deities. These are the only two Egyptian deities. Well, aside from Set, these are the two Egyptian deities in this deck. And then you have fucking Isis. And then at the end, you have Lilith. I also want you to notice that this one is really a lot of black and gold. Then there's a lot of gold, and then black. The other thing I'm going to say is this. You're climbing out of whatever this hole is. First of all, start a party down there to facilitate your escape. As you're going through this resurrection, I want you to remember to play the long game. Okay? We've talked a little bit about the long game in this live. When you're fixing yourself, when you're fixing a path, when you're fixing your life, when you're fixing all kinds of stuff, when you're on the resurrection train, it's okay to lose a battle or two, as long as your main goal is to win the war. Like in a divorce, you go to court so many different times, especially if you have kids. There's kids, there's property, there's child support, there's this, there's that. Like, you go to court so fucking much, right? You're not gonna win every single stinking time you go to court. Maybe you will, but you're not going to win every single stinking time. Sometimes you have to have mediation. Sometimes you have to give a little bit, let the other person win or whatever. But we always know that it's the person that is the biggest dick in the whole situation that seems to get a lot of stuff right off the bat, right? The one thing that I have learned the most in life is that you have to play a long game. When you're going through a resurrection, I know it's going on. When you're going through a resurrection, there are going to be people that want to talk to you about your past. There are going to be people that want to remind you of all the bad things you've done and how you're not good enough because you used to do this or this or this. Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Everybody has bad shit they used to do. Literally everyone. Literally everyone. Some people's bad things are worse than others. But I have found that the people that judge other people the most have the worst shit in their fucking closet. The worst shit in their closet. So here's one piece of advice I'm also going to give you, Lenzie, is this. When you're going through this resurrection, and I have a feeling that you're like full on in the middle of it. Let me say this first, and then I'll give you the piece of advice. First of all, don't get out of resurrection mode. I know, it's coming. It's so hard to go through a resurrection. And if you have people that are continually working to try to stop that or pause that or shift or whatever, it can get discouraging. Especially when you have that fuck that's always like, hey, remember that time you used to do this stupid shit? Remember that time you used to do this stupid shit? Remember that, remember that, remember that? And after a while, you start to think, well, if that's really how these people all think of me, I want you to keep in mind that your resurrection is yours and no one else's. You're the one who has gone through all of the trauma, all the good, all the bad, all the change. You're the one that has purified a lot of things out of your life. You're the one that has done the shadow work. You're the one that has strived for the equality. You're the one that has kept all of your obligations. You're the one that has done the party and cleaned up afterwards. Not anyone else. There is no one that has the power over your particular life and your path. And if you're going through a resurrection, and if you're going through all of these amazing aspects to hit a point where you finally feel like you're on equal footing with other people, there's no one that can change that and no one that can take that away from you. There will be people that try. But let me give you a page from the book of Bodhi. My favorite thing to say to people when they say, oh, I remember this, or so-and-so told me this, is if you don't know me better than that, then you should believe every word. I have never been a drinker. I just haven't. My biological dad was a horrendous alcoholic. And I grew up with him calling drunk from Vegas, screaming at my mom and screaming at me. I decided right then and there, I didn't ever want to drink. I do love whiskey. I do love rum. I do love wine. I drink about maybe that much. That's a big night. That's a big night. I've never been a drinker. When I was younger, I used to love to go, like my friends and I, we would all go out dancing, dancing. We'd all put on our little boots and our pants and we'd go two-step and all that shit. But other than that, I wasn't a party person. I just wasn't. Never have been. And whenever I went through a divorce, I didn't say anything about the other person. There was a lot I could have said, and I just didn't because my kids were big enough that it could have got back to them, and I just didn't want to be that person, right? But yet, that other person was telling everybody how I was out drunk every night and all this shit, right? I was working 3 jobs. 3. I was bartending, had a big girl job, and I did this. 3 jobs. And when I didn't want to be at home by myself, I would go out and drive Uber because I didn't want to be at home by myself. So I started hearing the rumors of, oh, I heard that you were out doing this and this and this. And I want you guys to remember this too. The person that will gossip to you will gossip about you. So I started telling everybody, if you don't know me better than that, then you should believe every single word that that person is saying. And guess what? It only took about a week and a half. I didn't hear anything else. I didn't hear anything else. It's been great. Keep in mind, when you're going through this resurrection and you're starting to live your life the way that you want to live it, Lenzie, and you're taking care of your own obligations and your own everything, that's when the people will come out of the woodwork and try to damage your equality. All of the things that you've strived for with this resurrection. You've done the hard work. Don't let anybody take it away from you. I know that was a bit of a kind of a logic puzzle of a reading there. Sorry. I hope that made sense, though. I hope that made sense. You're welcome. Did it make sense? Alisha. Good, I'm glad. Hold on just a second here. Let me see something. All right. Is there more rain coming through? Like, I thought all the rain had moved out, but I heard thunder. So that didn't make any sense. All right. Alisha, what do you need to know? I don't think y'all can hear Vlad, but I want you to know he's a drama king. Is that a thing? What are you doing, Vladdy Patty? I heard you come up the stairs. That's a lot of rain all around everywhere. No wonder it's thundering. He stands downstairs in the little alcove, the hallway, and goes, wow, wow, wow. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I've got it on video. I need to post it because he's ridiculous. He's utterly ridiculous. Oh, I don't want to do that. No. Okay. Let me see. Watches and warnings. Severe thunderstorm and aerial flood watch. Yay. I don't want to do it. I know the weather don't care. I don't want to do it though. Y'all are under a tornado watch down there. I don't like it. That's so weird that y'all are under a tornado watch when all the storms are up here. Can y'all hear the thunder? Like there's a... Oh, that one's down south of me, so that's okay. It might clip me, actually. I'm glad you said that, Brandon. Like right now, we're in this weird hooky area. Not hook, but like hollow area. But like there's some nasty big ones down south a little bit. They're probably gonna, if they go north even a little bit, they're gonna hit us. But yeah, those ones that are in Norman right now, they'll end up coming up this way. I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm gonna stomp my foot and be spoiled. I don't want to. All right. I'm glad you said something, Brandon. All right, Alisha. Ready? Sovereignty. Endurance. Resurrection. What the hell are you going through? What the hell are you going through? And then El Shaddai, which is wisdom, paternalism, and kindness. Okay. This is a take your whole life back kind of read. Let me say that. Sovereignty. This is the Morrigan. This is taking back who you are, where you are, why you are, where you're going. All of those things. Taking all of that back. Sovereignty, when you think, we usually hear the term sovereignty when it comes to like a sovereign nation. But it has to do with a person just as much as it has to do with a nation. You are who you are, period. If we all thought of people as their own little independent nations, we'd probably treat each other a lot better. Or not, I don't know. You need to take back yourself. You need to take back your own sovereignty. You need to take back, actually, you need to kick out anything that is eroding the foundations of Alisha. The problem is, I don't know if it's a problem, but the endurance card coming after that sovereignty card tells me that this is going to take, it's going to take a lot of effort on your part. It's going to take a lot of strength, and it's going to take a lot of effort. It's like, let's say, well, here's a good example. So a long time ago, when social media things first started, when Facebook first became a thing, I used to do a lot of marketing for people. I used to design their Facebook pages, set them all up, all that shit. I also used to do online reputation management for people with Google, Yahoo, Facebook, things like that. And there were some people that would hire me to help them that like, bitch, I can't fix some of that. Like, I can't fix some of that. Like, it's going to be a long time. Just like on a credit report, something's there for 7 years. Like, it's going to be a hot minute before some of those reviews go away. That's exactly what this is like. There's a lot of things that have eroded your foundation. And so that's why you kind of feel like you're doing the shaky, shaky topple, if that makes sense. So you're going to have to really pay attention and know that it's going to take a lot to really set your sovereignty back on solid ground. Like, you're going to have to rebuild that foundation, that platform. And you're going to need your strength for it. And you're going to need every aspect of that inner core, all of the different ways, spiritual, physical, mental, like all of those things are going to have to be really, really strengthened. I do want to say, though, it's all for a reason. Whatever it is you are manifesting, whatever it is that you're working towards, that's the reason this sovereignty has to be, I don't want to say jacked back up, but has to be fixed, is because this resurrection, I have this feeling, call me crazy, I have this feeling that you're manifesting a complete shift and change when it comes to your life, your family, where you're going, and why you're there. This resurrection is really, really important to you. It's important to who you are. It's important to everything moving forward in your path. And the thing is, I think it's not just you that it's important for. It's important for everybody that's walking this path with you. Family, kids, friends, coworkers, whatever. When I say that ripples matter, this is where this comes in. When I say that ripples matter, y'all have no idea how much your ripples matter. Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate that. You have no idea how much your ripples matter. You might think that you working hard and, you know, buying a bigger house or buying a new car or getting a better job, you might think that you're doing that to be able to support your family better, right? What you don't realize is the kids see you working hard. Thank you, Gabe. That's so sweet of you. The kids see you working hard. The kids see you doing better. The kids see, hey, if I have a work ethic and I keep this up and I can get the things that I want in life. Other people see that. Does that make sense? So your ripple of just wanting a better life for your family as it goes out and touches all these other kids. So let's just say your youngest kid is like 7, right? Your youngest kid sees you getting up early, getting to work, working really hard, getting a promotion, you know, all sees you doing all the things. So now this kid goes to school and is like, I really want to be like, you know, mom or dad. And so I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to get better grades. And so your kid starts working really hard because kid is seeing parent work hard, right? So there's one ripple. Well, maybe kid starts doing so much better that the teacher sits him down and is like, hey, you know, I've noticed a big change in you. Why, you know, what changed? What made you suddenly want to do so much better with math or whatever? And maybe kid says, I watched mom work really hard at work and get a good promotion, and I want mom to be proud of me. Well, maybe that touches the teacher, and the teacher's like, oh my God, that's the sweetest thing. Maybe the teacher hasn't talked to her mother in 10 years. Maybe teacher goes home and calls her mom. There's another ripple that you didn't realize. You don't even really know the teacher. You haven't met the teacher. It's not back to school night yet. Do you see what I'm saying? Y'all have no idea how many ripples your ripples touch. You'll never know. So Alisha, everybody's seeing you rebuild the foundation of who you are, rebuild your sovereignty, and go through this resurrection. You're making ripples and touching people that you'll never even meet. You'll never even meet them. You're changing people's lives that you don't even know. You're rekindling relationships with people, families that haven't talked to each other in years. You'll never even know. You did all of these amazing things just thinking that you're doing it to make your family's life easier. And you touched hundreds and thousands of people with your ripples. I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I'm saying. So I have two more. I have Tanya and Jessica. But I have been keeping an eye on the radar, and there is a nasty storm about to hit. In fact, it got way bigger, and I really probably need to go down and turn on the news. So Tanya, I know you used a coupon, so we'll get you another one. And then Jessica, it's up to you if you'd like me to refund you or if you'd like a coupon for something. But I need to go keep an eye on this because that thing popped up really quickly. Remember, and it's not even the one I thought it was going to be. The one coming behind it is also getting a little bigger. So I need to go turn the news on. I really don't want to do this tonight. Like, I really would like to just go to bed and be this nice, calm rain outside. But apparently that's not what's about to happen. And it's dumb. And it's dumb! So, anyway, yeah. I'm in the Tulsa area in Oklahoma. So, yeah. You guys that are in the Midwest, if you're in Oklahoma, I think this stretches up. It's stretching up into Missouri right now. It's fixing to slide over into Arkansas, Missouri, all that stuff. It's supposed to rain like this all fucking night. We're supposed to have bad weather all night. So those of you guys that are in this area, you're in Arkansas, Missouri, etc., y'all just be careful. Because just in the time that we've been on here, y'all heard the storms rolling through when I first got on, and they're just like developing right over this, and it's dumb. So anyway, all right, guys, I love the shit out of you. Free classes tomorrow morning because I'm being petty. Take advantage of my pettiness. So I will see you guys in the morning, 10 a.m. Central Time. And y'all stay safe. Have a good night. And I'm going to go watch the news.